MP Materials attracts immense attention because of its magnetic market position as a producer of rare earth materials in the Western Hemisphere, operating the Mountain Pass rare earth mine and processing facility in California. Its two reportable segments are materials and magnetics. The materials segment produces refined rare earth oxides and related products, primarily generating revenue from sales of rare earth concentrate and separated rare earth products. The magnetics segment operates the Independence facility in Texas, where magnetic precursor products are produced, along with neodymium iron boron permanent magnets. MP Materials' stated mission is restoring the full rare earth magnetic supply chain to the United States, with its integrated operations at Mountain Pass combining low production costs with high environmental standards. It believes it is well-positioned to thrive as the global economy electrifies and the U.S. prioritizes domestic manufacturing and secure supply chains. Now, before we dive into the workings of MP, it'll be helpful to first highlight the importance of rare earth elements and the magnets they produce, as well as their heightened geopolitical importance. In super simple terms, rare earth elements, sometimes just called rare earths or REs, contain special magnetic properties that can be used to produce permanent magnets, which are crucial enablers of modern technologies. From electric vehicles and wind turbines to drones, defense systems, and robotics. Contrary to their name, REs aren't exceedingly rare, but the entire process of mining, separating, and forming them into magnets is difficult due to infrastructure and support being underdeveloped. Neodymium-praseodymium is the largest segment of the rare earth market, primarily used in neodymium iron boron permanent magnets. According to Adamas Intelligence, the global market for rare earth oxides is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 5.9% through 2040, driven by increasing demand for rare earth magnets. The rare earth mining, processing, and magnetics manufacturing market is dominated by two major rare earth groups in China, which control a significant portion of the global supply chain. Outside of China, there are few producers operating at scale, with processing capabilities located in Australia and Malaysia. China maintains a dominant position in the supply of rare earths, accounting for around 90% of the world's rare earths, including neodymium iron boron, NdFeB, permanent magnets due to its vast rare earth reserves, advanced processing capabilities, and vertically integrated production infrastructure. MP Materials has invested nearly $1 billion in its operations, including a refinery in California that processes almost half of its production. The refined materials are primarily sold in markets outside China, such as Japan, South Korea, and the U.S. MP is accelerating downstream operations, including oxide production, heavy rare earth separation, and magnet production in Texas, while stockpiling concentrate. MP's Mountain Pass facility in California is the only scaled rare earth production source in America. That's why the company aims to provide a complete supply chain solution, from raw materials to finished magnetics. Despite initial challenges like negative EBITDA and low gross profit margins, MP Materials reported increased interest from manufacturers seeking secure material sources and discussions with federal leaders committed to supporting American industry, especially after tensions began to rise with China, resulting in retaliatory tariffs and export controls on rare earth imports from the U.S., which prompted MP Materials to stop shipping rare earth concentrate to China. MP believes selling critical materials under these conditions isn't commercially rational or in America's national interest, aligning with its long-term strategy to create a fully restored rare earth supply chain within the United States, reducing dependence on Chinese processing. Since MP owns the only rare earths mine in the U.S., and it halted shipments of rare earth minerals to China for processing, MP felt a significant revenue loss, largely because it relied on Chinese partners for refining the rare earths while it expands processing in California. The rare earths are mostly sold under a contract to China's Shanghai Resources, MP's fourth-largest shareholder. Last year, MP made over 70% of its revenue from these sales, so it's now focusing on refining the material in California and increasing its domestic processing capacity. MP also emphasizes its continued efforts to develop its facility in Texas. At the same time, a potentially seismic shift could come from Saudi Arabia, which is exploring possible agreements with the U.S. for cooperation in mining and mineral resources, including rare earths, as part of its Vision 2030 diversification program. The kingdom is rapidly expanding its mining sector and has significantly increased its rare earth reserves, with plans to partner with international firms, including MP Materials. Similarly, there's also been discussion of the U.S. growing its rare earth stockpiles in case of a major supply disruption from further bans or even conflicts. Shortly after tariff talks began, when semiconductors were still in the spotlight, China announced a ban on exporting certain minerals to the United States, citing national security reasons. The restricted minerals include gallium, germanium, and antimony, which have potential military applications. Although the effects of this ban weren't as bad as first thought, it jolted the U.S. to intensify its efforts to establish alternative RE sources to mitigate supply chain risks. Fortunately for the U.S., even back in 2024, the Mountain Pass mine and processing facility delivered over 45,000 metric tons of rare earth oxides contained in concentrate and produced around 1,300 metric tons of NdPr oxide. MP Materials has a 3-stage business plan to enable and scale the full rare earth supply chain. Processing operations at Mountain Pass involve 5 primary steps: mining and crushing, milling and flotation, roasting, leaching and impurity removal, separation and extraction, and product finishing. Upstream operations, known as Stage 1, produce rare earth concentrate that is marketed to refiners primarily via a distribution arrangement. Since restarting operations, the company has implemented changes to increase plant uptime and reliability, driving enhanced flotation throughput, REO recovery, and production. Midstream operations, known as Stage 2, involve the separation of individual rare earth elements. An oxidizing roasting circuit has been reintroduced, along with reoriented portions of the plant process flow, increased product finishing capacity, and improved wastewater management. The roasting step is crucial to ensuring cost competitiveness, as it allows for the removal of lower-value cerium early in the separations process, reducing the mass of material to be separated and finished. Downstream operations, known as Stage 3, involves the production of rare earth magnets and its precursor products at the Independence facility in Texas. It converts neodymium-praseodymium oxide produced at Mountain Pass into permanent magnets, and its precursor products, incorporating magnet recycling capabilities. The initial goal for the Independence facility is to produce approximately 1,000 metric tons of finished rare earth magnets per year, sufficient to power over 700,000 electric vehicle motors annually. Starting in late 2025, there'll be a gradual increase in production, which will help supply magnets to General Motors and other manufacturers. As MP makes progress producing separated rare earth products, it expects to improve its per-unit production costs as production increases. This increase could come about faster than first thought, because the Trump administration is exploring Cold War-era powers to support rare earth projects critical to national security, including funding for mining, processing, and related technologies. The plan involves using the Defense Production Act to provide loans, financing, and other support to domestic rare earth producers. This has already led to MP securing a multi-billion-dollar public-private partnership with the U.S. Department of Defense to expand its rare earth capabilities by expanding the company's Mountain Pass facility in California in order to enhance heavy rare earth separation capabilities, as well as the building of a new magnet manufacturing facility. The agreement includes a $400 million investment from the Defense Department, a $150 million loan, and a 10-year price floor for its neodymium-praseodymium products. This will set a price of $110 per kilogram for MP's 2 most popular rare earths, almost double the current Chinese market price. This pricing system is expected to raise global prices, benefiting producers, but potentially increasing costs for consumers, such as automakers. MP will also expand its magnet production in Texas, eventually increasing output to 1,000 tons annually. This initiative comes as global demand for rare earths, particularly in magnets for military and green technologies, is expected to surge. While the deal signals a shift toward reducing reliance on China, it remains uncertain how industrial consumers will react to higher prices, especially those outside government-backed initiatives. The new magnet manufacturing facility will support the goal of increasing output to 100,000 metric tons per year, with the factory set to open in 2028. On top of the DoD's support through the Defense Production Act, MP is investing $600 million of its own funds into the expansion projects. $1 billion in funding commitments is also coming from J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs to construct the second magnet manufacturing facility, expected to increase U.S. production capacity significantly by 2028. The deal positions the Defense Department to potentially become MP Materials' largest shareholder, with a 15% stake. It's also bolstering MP as a trusted, sustainable source of supply for materials and components that enable the development of critical industries. Building on its over 60 years of operations at Mountain Pass, which has demonstrated that its ore body is one of the world's largest and highest-grade rare earth resources. In the bigger picture, MP could receive even more support, as the Trump administration is considering reallocating at least $2 billion from the CHIPS Act to fund critical minerals projects and increase Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick's influence in the sector. This would repurpose funds already designated for semiconductor research and chip factory construction, avoiding a new spending request while reducing U.S. reliance on China for essential minerals used in electronics and defense industries. The move is part of a broader strategy to centralize the U.S. government's approach to critical minerals. Lutnick, who previously ran Cantor Fitzgerald, would oversee the decision-making process regarding critical minerals funding, including potential support for mining, processing, and recycling firms. The proposed plan aims to address the need for domestic production of minerals like lithium and rare earths, which are heavily controlled by China. However, it is unclear whether the funds would be used for grants or equity stakes in mining companies. Aside from geopolitical security, environmental regulations and initiatives are generally becoming more stringent, which is why MP believes that its products will play a significant role in advancing efforts to curb carbon emissions and address climate change, particularly in the transportation sector. Financially, its strategy is to leverage its low-cost position to maximize earnings power in all commodity price environments. Economies of scale are being achieved to lower production costs per unit of rare earth oxide produced in concentrate. Stage 2 operations are designed to enable MP to keep managing its cost structure for separating rare earth elements, which will also be helped by its integrated operations and strategic location for cost advantages and risk mitigation. The Independence facility is so promising. MP was awarded a $58.5 million Section 48C qualifying advanced energy project tax credit to advance its construction. Vertical integration is being advanced through further downstream processing of rare earth oxide into finished rare earth magnets and precursor products, incorporating process waste and end-of-life magnet recycling. Progress at the Independence facility has already seen the commissioning of its electrowinning capability to produce neodymium-praseodymium metal from oxide and introducing capabilities to produce neodymium-praseodymium iron-boron alloy flake. And by all accounts, trial production of automotive-grade sintered neodymium iron-boron magnets is going well, aligning with the goal of capturing the full rare earth value chain through downstream integration into rare earth magnet production. Environmentally, MP believes Mountain Pass is the world's cleanest and most environmentally sustainable rare earth production facility, using a dry tailings process that allows recycling of water and eliminates the need for high-risk wet tailings ponds. The vast majority of its rare earth concentrate is sold to Shenghe Resources under the terms of the 2024 offtake agreement. There's also a distributorship agreement with Sumitomo Corporation of Americas for the sale of neodymium oxide and metal to Japanese customers. In the magnetic segment, MP has a long-term agreement to supply magnets and precursor products manufactured at the Independence facility to General Motors as its foundational customer. It is also pursuing sales opportunities to other customers for its future magnet products. In the world of big tech, Apple has signed a $500 million deal with MP Materials, partly because it's the only fully integrated rare earth producer in the United States to purchase American-made rare earth magnets. This partnership aims to mitigate supply risks demonstrated by China curbing exports earlier. It also guarantees Apple a steady flow of magnets free from China's control. The magnets will be produced at MP Materials' Texas facility using recycled materials and will supply hundreds of millions of Apple devices. The agreement is part of Apple's commitment to spend over $500 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years and supports the development of a sustainable U.S.-based magnet supply chain. As part of the deal, Apple will prepay MP Materials $200 million for a supply of magnets slated to begin in 2027. The partnership also includes plans to build a new recycling facility at MP's Mountain Pass site in California, where materials from discarded electronics will be recovered and reused in future Apple products. This investment is expected to support new jobs in advanced manufacturing and research and development, with both companies providing workforce training programs. Without a doubt, association with a big name like Apple can go a long way to help MP as it keeps progressing in its transition away from low-margin concentrate sales toward higher-value NdPr oxide and metal production. For more on MP Materials and other companies, follow Ascencore. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.